This is Defiance Daily, dispatches for the Defiant. I am your host, Miles Taylor, and I have a cold. So if in the course of this conversation today, I completely spaz out vocally, my Defiance.org co-founder, Xander Schultz, is going to carry the day, but we're going to forge ahead. I don't take days off because of a cold. So here's what we're going to talk about today, folks. A lot to discuss from over the weekend. Donald Trump's vanity projects, in particular, have hit a snag. It's too bad. You stick your name on everything and people just want to wash it off of everything. We're going to talk about that today. We're also going to talk about two explosive interviews over the weekend. One with journalist Scott Pelley and what he had to say about the MAGA-fueled takeover of CBS News. And then Donald Trump's own interview on Meet the Press, an interview he stormed out of and showed the nation why he is a corrupt and petulant thug. We're going to tell you why that is, what he said and didn't say in that interview. And then finally, we have a special guest today, a fan favorite here on Defiance Daily. The incredible Baratunde Thurston is with us today to break all of this down. Now, let me say, as I always do, before we go on, you should do something. If you haven't gone to defiance.org before, you should go check it out. You should consider signing up for our pro-democracy, anti-corruption updates for free on that site, or consider becoming a member of defiance.org to fuel our actions to combat Donald Trump's abuses of power. Every week, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, we announce real actions we are taking as a club to combat that corruption. And in the meantime, please like and share and subscribe if you are standing with us. All right, I'm going to bring in my Defiance.org co-founder, Xander Schultz, who's back in the chair. Xander, hello. You are the shitty voice recovery man today. When I start,
I heard I was the backup plan.
That's a better way to put it. Yeah. You're my
I think Baratunde
plan.
is the better backup plan. You know, if we're going to pass the mic to anyone,
Baratunde's got like a great voice and yeah, man, he's a boss. He's a boss. Well, I'm going to take us into our first story, Xander. We'll see if I can get through it. And this is on the vanity projects, which I got to say, I was at a wedding this weekend and I was on hair trigger alert for any text you sent or our producer Mercedes sent, because I thought one of you all was going to say, it's happening now. They're plucking the Trump letters off of the Kennedy Center. It didn't happen this weekend, but I was dying for that message, and I'm still on alert. And of course, amidst all of this, we've sort of pierced this narrative that Donald Trump has. He likes to think he has the proverbial Midas touch. But over the last few days, we've seen that that's not the case. We've gotten a reminder that his biggest ideas tend to follow that same pattern, Xander. First, he's got the big announcement. This is going to be the biggest. This is going to be the best. This is going to be huge. I'm going to spray paint my name everywhere. And then his minions follow suit with lots of hype across all the outlets. And they put out their propaganda and they use their air horns on blast. And then time after time, whatever that big thing is, it flops, it blows up. It goes into what I call it the fail phase. Same thing that we've seen with so many Trump businesses. Hype, 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 rapid slide into the fail phase. And that's either a lawsuit or a setback or an embarrassing reality check or a bankruptcy. And this weekend, of course, Trump managed to collect at least 3 of those. So we're going to start with his UFC fight set to take place next weekend at the White House, because over this past weekend, Xander, a new lawsuit was filed seeking to stop that event. The case was brought by an organization called the Public Integrity Project on behalf of 2 Virginia residents, a Vietnam veteran and a civic activist, who argue the administration unlawfully approved what is essentially a private commercial sporting event on federal grounds. The lawsuit raises several challenges. First, it argues that the National Park Service regulations prohibit sporting events on federal parkland, of which the White House grounds are. Second, it argues that Congress never approved this massive arch structure currently being built overlooking the venue. And third, it argues the administration failed to conduct the environmental reviews normally required before a project of this size moves forward. Now, the plaintiff's attorney put it this way. He called the event, quote, a private, commercial, corrupt use of our most sacred national monuments for private gain. Now, I want to zoom in on the financial gains part here for a second, Xander, because this is interesting. The lawsuit also points to the fact that Trump disclosed owning between $15,000 and $50,000 worth of stock in UFC's parent company while publicly promoting the event. Because while the White House has portrayed, of course he's got to own a piece of it. Because while the White House has portrayed the event as patriotic celebration, new reporting shows the UFC is offering 250 ultra premium VIP packages tied to the event. The price of those packages, $1.5 million each. And those packages include a reserved seat on the South Lawn, access to the weigh-in and to the concerts and additional UFC events. So while the White House is pitching this whole thing as a celebration of America, critics are looking at those price tags and then asking an obvious alternative question, which is, so what's being celebrated here? Who's exactly being celebrated, America or corporate enrichment? And Xander, I think that potentially calls for our favorite little alert. Do you have that button nearby?
I do. It needs a woo-woo sound effect with it, though. It
really
doesn't
does.
feel right.
Especially if someone's just listening on audio.
Yeah, this does nothing on the podcast.
This is the impeachment alert. There's a million reasons why, but the grift is remarkable here. And I was thrilled to see someone actually bringing a lawsuit on this. Now, of course, the White House is claiming the lawsuit is meritless. It has no grounds, yada, yada, yada. But as of today, the legal wheels were already in motion over that thing. In fact, earlier today, a judge for the Federal District Court of Washington ordered both sides to begin proposing a schedule to hear the emergency request. That's got to happen in the next 5 days. And I got to wonder, Xander, whether that was part of the strategy here was, legally file it close to the event, force the White House to get to the table as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's incredible how often bureaucratic interventions are saving us. I mean, this is reminiscent of turning off the water in Social Circle, Georgia, with the prison camp. The resistance is getting pretty creative on the interventions. It's also so interesting. Most people try to succeed in life so they don't have to do things that feel beneath them, like grifting, right? And it feels like Trump's agenda is almost the opposite. He gets to the White House so he can, what were the beans they were selling in his first administration? The Trump family was doing commercials with some beans. It's so odd that they've ascended to power and then are using their place to do things that you would usually do on your ascension and then be happy you no longer have to do along the way. You know what I mean? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
It totally does. Although I don't remember the beans. What were the beans?
It was it was his daughter Ivanka was taking a picture with these beans in the White House. It was some refried beans. They're black
Goya beans.
It's why? What's the point of becoming president to then just use that to sell refried beans? It's so odd. The whole thing is so odd.
It's incredible and incredibly transparent. But it doesn't stop there, my friend, because
Goya, everyone's saying Goya. Thanks, gang.
Yeah. Donald Trump's idiocracy dome isn't the only vanity project that is going the trash bin, because we all know that the repainting of the reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial has been completely pilloried by the public. Remember that reflecting pool repainting that came in at $11.3 million over budget. Well, after weeks of construction to paint it and, to make it this swimming pool color blue Donald Trump wanted, I think actually American flag blue, they called it, the water started flowing back into the pool this weekend. The only problem for Trump is that bystanders were quick to point out that it's not exactly how Donald Trump claimed it would be. Now, I don't know the last time you painted a room, Xander, but before you go hog wild, the first thing you do is a patch test, right? You paint it on, you let it dry, you see what it's going to look like.
Oh,
Well, it seems like the company that got this gigantic no bid contract over budget to do the swimming pool, it appears that they failed to do one
mm.
because it didn't turn out right. Here's the BBC with the on the ground reactions.
Color. It's called American flag blue.
I mean, the paint's darker than that.
It looks like asphalt. Right now, what's black?
Looks black to me.
I mean, you can see the American flag. It's a little bit darker.
I would say it's like a bluish black.
Looks black.
Maybe, I mean, water's kind of like blue, right? So maybe it'll kind of reflect blue.
What I love about this is
Oof.
Xander, as it was getting painted on, it looked the way he wanted, which was horrible, right? It looked like
Mhm.
a shitty local swimming pool. It was like this lightish blue, which defeated the purpose because the reflecting pool is supposed to reflect things, and that
Mhm.
blue wasn't
It's in the
reflective.
name.
But now it's dried, basically back to kind of the reflecting pool, just reflecting. So what the hell did we spend $13 million on?
No, this is totally aligned with everything he does, right? Miles, you and I talk about this all the time. He like tears up the old thing and then, is confronted with reality and has to, backstep his way towards a shitty version of the thing we already had. Whether it's like the trade deal, the North American trade deal that he rebuilt in his first administration to, whatever crappy version of the Iran deal we'll eventually get that's much worse than what we originally had in place. This is totally aligned with his behavior.
I gotta say though, outside of the wasted taxpayer dollar, that it's basically a wash. It's basically how it was before, rather than awful Donald Trump defacement from before. I mean,
Yeah.
it was ugly as hell when it was bright blue. So I don't know. Maybe this is not the worst outcome for us, but definitely a bad outcome for the president. He's the only one smarting over the fact that this thing doesn't look like the crappiest pool built in the suburbs down the street.
It's a good outcome. Dawn says this reflects Trump's darkness. If Trump can return things to just the way they were, it would honestly be a positive outcome. Miles, I almost wrote, I didn't quite finish it, but I was going to send it over to you, a blog post of the way the country would look if Donald Trump had not been restrained in all the ways that he's been restrained over these first 14, 15, wherever we are, month 16 now. It's a dark picture. Like, we are thwarting his attempts, as you led off the program mentioning, but we'd be in a world where our cities are occupied, our monuments have his face all over them, people are being sent to third world countries without trial, there's no birthright citizenship. Sometimes the monstrosity that is Donald Trump is hard to fully understand because we are stopping him, because we are so active in stopping him, because the courts are stopping him, because the public is stopping him. We'd have dissenters off the airwaves writ large. Freedom of speech would be almost out the window, at least, when it comes to legacy media. The defacement of our monuments is just like one small example of that. But I almost feel like, and Miles, maybe we can, cue up your AI video friend again, to just show like the world, if Trump had gotten his way thus far, what would America look like today? And it would be jarring and scary. The world we're living in right now is his best attempts, mostly thwarted.
I'm so glad you said that. While you were saying that, I wrote down, I'm just going to full on steal that from you. I wrote down that I want to do an essay.
We're
this
coworkers,
week.
so you don't have to steal it. It's published under the same.
That's the best part. You can't sue me for stealing your ideas. Yeah, man. I want to write that as an essay. I want to give some additional thought to, here's how much uglier it would be if we hadn't fought back. But we've fought back. It's a really great frame. I mean, I know it feels very depressing right now the way things are to a lot of folks, but there has been such remarkable pushback from the public and from the courts that painting that picture, I think, is a reminder of what a difference the Defiance can make in this country. Hell yeah, go Xander. We're going to take away all that credit. I won't even mention you in that essay.
So I'm used to it. I'm used to it by now.
Well, look, one last thing on Trump's defacement campaigns going wrong. I think tonight is going to be the ultimate version of that, because the past few days, Donald Trump's name and likeness has been appearing on the outside of Madison Square Garden, hyping the fact that he is coming to tonight's Knicks game in New York City. And
Good.
Xander, I think this is another one that's not going to turn out the way the president thinks. There's almost no scenario that he walks into Madison Square Garden and is not mercilessly booed tonight. And I found this to be hilarious because I know how these things go. I watch how these things come together. Trump has a random idea in the Oval Office. He says, I want to go do this thing. And little aides scramble around and say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. It's the best idea ever. No one in the room had the guts to tell him, boss, I think if you go to Madison Square Garden in New York City, one of the bluest cities in America, they're going to like boo you out of the building. Like, no one told him that. And so now he's going into Madison Square Garden, an arena that's going to be jam-packed with New Yorkers who are sick of his shit, New Yorkers who are furious at spiraling prices. This is the New York, by the way, that elected Mamdani. And he thinks he's going to walk in there and get applause. Oh, man, these might be some of the loudest, ugliest boos since the start of the Trump administration, Xander.
A good way to gauge the character of a politician is to see how they're received at home, where they came up. Like Bernie, loved in Vermont. Vermont people love Bernie. Check out how Trump is received in his hometown, where people have known him for some time. New Yorkers want nothing to do with him. Our comments are going nuts. A lot of people are anticipating a lot of boos for Trump. Jody Tatum says New Yorkers do not like him for sure and haven't for decades. That's the point. Is New Yorkers knew he was full of shit when he was just a celebrity. He was a celebrity developer. He'd been screwing over New Yorkers for some time. Deborah J says, I hope New Yorkers shake the place with boos. I bet they will, Deborah. I bet that's what we're going to see.
I bet they will. It's going to be pretty epic. And then you add to the fact it's not just people inside Madison Square Garden who are going to be booing and pissed off. It's all the people who were going to show up across the city for the watch parties outside of Madison Square Garden to cheer on their team, the Knicks, who've now been pushed away because of Trump's security presence. They've been pushed back to Brighton Park. So you just made a city real angry, Donald Trump. Real angry. Good luck with that.
Yeah, have fun. Have fun, buddy. I hope you enjoy your time. Yeah, if he thinks this is going to be the welcome he gets at UFC events, he's got another thing coming for him.
Another thing, well, and that's coming off of a pretty crappy weekend for him in terms of optics, Xander, because there were the lawsuits and the face plants over the weekend on his vanity projects. But the weekend was also packed with some pretty explosive interviews, 2 of them to be exact, both coming out yesterday. Now, I want to start with the first one, as it comes from someone we've been waiting to hear from after last week's events. That, of course, is longtime 60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelley, who sat down with the New York Times for his first major interview since being fired. And he covered a lot of ground. And Xander, one answer in particular jumped out to me, which is when he was asked about Bari Weiss and her leadership at CBS News and the editorial changes he says he witnessed firsthand. Pelley said this, quote, I don't want to be hyperbolic. My impression at the time was that she was putting a thumb on the scale on behalf of the administration, as in the Trump administration, constantly looking out for the views of the president. We are reporting those views. There's nothing wrong with reporting those views, but that was never enough. That was his quote. And Pelley came prepared with a stunning example in the desired coverage Weiss demanded, including in the killing of Renee Nicole Good in Minnesota. I want you to watch and get your reaction, my friend, on the other side.
Bari Weiss sends an email to my boss, Tanya Simon. 2 of the things in the email include, can we make the protesters look more violent?
Wow.
Now, I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the quote, but that's what was communicated to me. And the other thing was Renee Good's car. You need to describe her as driving toward the officer. This is not what you see on the video. On the video, you see the officers standing slightly off the front of the car, and you clearly see Miss Good's wheels turned completely as far as they will go, away from the officer.
Mm-hmm.
But he shoots her in the head, kills her, and says something about her in that moment that I can't repeat in polite company. So we have gone out of our way in our plan from the very beginning to show the protesters for the responsibility that they had. We had already scrubbed the video archives looking for those scenes, but it somehow wasn't enough for Ms. Weiss. The video showed that the officer wasn't standing in front of the car and she wasn't driving toward him, but that's what the president said about that, and that's the way she wanted it described.
Xander, what do you think? I mean, just remarkably damning.
It validates everything we know to be true already in some ways. It's just nice for it to be validated. We know Trump and his allies are instilling loyalists in important platforms, whether they be legacy media or places like TikTok and Twitter, now X, and putting pressure on them, not only instilling loyalists, but putting pressure on them on a day-to-day basis, being in communication with them on what they want to see and how they want to warp the opinions of this country. It's great that he stood up and said this, thank God we're seeing so much bravery lately. It's been really nice to see, and a reminder of what we weren't seeing for a while there in America. Mm-hmm. And I would say it's validating more than it is astonishing, if you get my drift.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't the only bombshell that he dropped in the interview. I mean, he talked about the firing of CBS staff from the top, and how that was a complete shock and unprecedented in the program's history, and how Weiss's leadership team has been difficult to deal with, and all of the different ideas they foisted upon the newsroom that were friendly to the Trump administration, and on and on. I mean, Pelley really, he let it fly. I mean, he let it, he let CBS have it. If he had a,
as respectfully as possible. It's not like he's torturing him. It seems like he's trying to, totally. He's being a real journalist about it. He's sticking to just the facts. He's removing his opinion from it, Well,
and he closed with the most powerful line, which was, in his words, quote, "Right now, CBS News is on fire." And he didn't say it like in a good way, and I think that is exactly what you said earlier, Xander. It's the validation of what people thought would happen. Yeah, if the White House puts its thumb on the scales to make sure billionaire buddies can take over a news network that the president doesn't like, of course the end result is going to be, from an editorial standpoint, those news outlets are pressured to become pro-Trump media outlets. And one of the most storied journalists alive today in the United States is saying, yep, that's happening, folks. CBS News is on fire. But I think it's bigger than that, Xander. You might as well say the First Amendment is on fire, because that's what we're talking about here.
Bear Tuesday Thursday in the comments already before he comes on saying maybe he meant it in a good way, like they're lit. CBS is lit.
CBS News is on fire.
I would say, it's not on fire. This is the mistake we make sometimes when we talk about the infrastructure around oppression. It is working as intended. CBS is now state media. It is state media. I just texted you a picture of CBS's newest news anchor in our text thread, Miles. It's state media, and it is working as intended. Just like these prison camps that are torturing people are working as intended. They are warping our institutions to serve their goals of feeding us BS and oppressing us. There she is. There's the newest CBS news anchor. If you can't tell, that's
left North Korea, and she came.
Just got a new gig.
That's a great one. You're absolutely right. Well, Xander, Scott Pelley interview, not the only burn it down interview of the weekend, because Donald Trump himself lit another on fire. He sat down with NBC's Kristen Welker for a Meet the Press interview that went predictably off the rails. Why? Because he was pressed on his alternative facts, because he was challenged. That's what happens when Donald Trump does an interview where someone asks him simple questions, is he loses his mind. Yep, that's what happens. And on this one, Donald Trump, he got pressed on a number of things by Kristen Welker, but the first one was this pledge, no more forever wars. Remember, Trump said he would not get us into endless wars. Well, Welker rightfully said that this war in Iran going on 4 months clearly breaks his promise. Did it not? Watch the exchange.
When you say I promised, I didn't promise anything. I don't like these endless wars. This is not an endless war. We've been doing this for 3 months. Much of it has been under the form, a pretty good form of ceasefire. The blockade has been amazing. Our Navy is amazing. Our military is the best in the world. Hey, we took over a very powerful country, Venezuela, a lot of soldiers, big, strong military. We took over Venezuela in a matter of minutes. We destroyed the capability of Iran in a matter of days. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Now I'm going to finish it.
Okay, but Xander, when when Welker pushed back, that's when things started to go downhill, and they spiraled in crazy directions if you watch the interview. But basically, Trump from there turns to California and the alleged stolen election in California and the governor's race. His preferred candidate for governor, of course, and the Los Angeles mayor have been slipping as more of the mail-in ballots are counted. And so rather than accept that California has a slow vote counting process that's existed for years, he immediately jumped to his favorite topic, election fraud. And Welker pressed him for evidence, and that did not improve his mood. Take a look.
It was rigged. It was a dirty election.
Mr.
And it's
President,
happening again right now in California.
You've never presented evidence.
It's happening
that the
right now in
2020 election
California.
was rigged.
Right now, it's look at what's
Where's
happening
the
in
evidence
California.
to that?
It's
The
4
Republicans
days.
are doing well in
California. No, they're not. They're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close to coming up with it.
That's how they count
You know
the
why
votes
they're doing
in
that? Because they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence to support
all I have to do is look. All I have to do is look.
That's not
and
evidence.
look where? And I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But, sir, that's not evidence.
Do you think it's appropriate?
That's how they count the votes in California.
Do you think it's appropriate that they have an election and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a winner?
State and local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're urging the votes to be counted quickly. That's how they vote in California.
They're crooked, just like you're crooked. Your press is crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
To be fair, I'm not crooked, but let's
Really?
Let's
Well,
continue.
you play right into their hands.
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid. You play
continue.
right into their hands with this crap. You know that these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
But, Mr. President,
you know why I
you've
got
never
that?
presented
Because you have no
evidence.
credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about. I want to talk about Todd.
You
Blanche.
have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
Your
about
elections in this country. We're like a third world country.
But, sir,
your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked,
Mr.
and so
President-
is ABC and CBS and CNN.
But, Mr. President-
You're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Mr. President, let's please. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat in the rain with you.
I know. I
I've sat in the
traveled
rain
all the
with
way
you
to
for an hour,
Wisconsin.
on and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press because you know what?
Mr.
The
President,
country can never be great with a dishonest
Listen,
press.
we
Come on, let's
traveled
go.
all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The fact that the president of the United States looked at the host of Meet the Press and said, you're either crooked or you're stupid, because she challenged him on his bogus, multi-year, fake, stolen election claims, it's enough to make anyone who gives a shit about free speech want to vomit. I don't know if you had a different reaction, Xander.
If you were looking at him and thinking that orange man is bad, you can go to orangemanbad.org, orangemanbad.org, which will redirect you to defiance.org. He was particularly orange.
I totally forgot about that. I have to write that.
It's for
reminder
these
down.
moments. It's for these moments that we
It's
have
for
at
these moments.
orangemanbad.org.
Orangemanbad.org.
Very, very bad man. Treats women terribly.
I got to post that
Consistently.
more frequently.
Treats the media terribly.
We're going to bring in a friend to talk about this today. Someone who knows what's going on in California, is in California at the moment. And if there is absolutely epic voter fraud taking place, if the California officials are stuffing ballot boxes and rigging the elections, surely our guest has seen that absolutely state upending behavior. So we
He might be orchestrating it. It could be him.
He might. Our guest today might be behind it, and that's why we're going to put pressure on him. Baratunde Thurston is a host, a writer, a speaker whose work explores democracy, technology, and civic life. You know him from PBS's America Outdoors, How to Citizen, and his latest project, Life with Machines. What's up, my friend?
Miles Xander. Oh my goodness. Y'all know how to lay out a welcome mat for a brother. You give me too much credit to be able to be responsible for so much voter fraud. 40 million people.
I know. How did you pull it off? How did you pull it off? Except Trump noticed what you did, and now he's undoing it.
That's because I'm special, and so is he. He is a very special man-child. He's such a big. I don't.
No, you can say it. You can say it.
It's all right.
Well, here's what's on my mind.
Adam
Group
Kinzinger
therapy
said
it on
today.
social
It
media
is,
today. I'm
because-
pretty sure Adam Kinzinger said on social media today. So I'm saying, what a bitch. That was his response. It was like 82,000 likes or something.
He's a whiny
Trump.
little what Kinzinger said. I do not. I maintain a healthy diet. I drink water. I don't inject a bunch of things, and I don't consume Trump. And so this, just joining a little
diet.
early with you guys, was like the most I've consumed directly of the fire hose of old man yells at cloud that I have experienced in some time. And it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot. I forget how absolutely unhinged and just unsubtle. It's so, the lesson here is like too obvious. So yeah, I am in California. We are engaged in a process which much of the country is having less and less experience of. We call it democracy. And we are counting our votes, which is something that people are doing to ensure that the voice of the people is heard, within the bounds of acceptable discourse established by lobbyists, but still, like, we're doing as best we can out here. And for this clown to just scream, he's so unhappy. Right?
Yeah.
It's actually, it reveals the lie that whatever it is he's on or that he has is in some way desirable. And if you put it on mute and you just looked at him and you could still feel the
not
heat
directly though,
generated.
it's the light that's reflecting off of it. It's a little,
it's like looking at the sun.
Indirect. It's gotta be indirect.
But you know what, there we go. You put on something like this,
shades
and
first.
then,
There we go.
and
Safety
then you
first.
look, then you would see, like, whatever he's about, we got to be about something different, because that doesn't look to be that worked up.
Well, and you saw in the clip, if you missed it, he literally stomps on the microphone. I don't know if we still have that, if we can pull it up. I mean, like,
of course,
if folks didn't catch that, he literally stomps on it.
I'll believe you.
No, you have to see it.
Oh,
You have to
believe
see
it.
torture.
it and watch
This is
it.
torture.
It's so
I didn't sign up for
interesting.
this.
To your point, it's so interesting. I remember when I was trying to organize some rich people into our work, the pro democracy.
Pause right there. You were trying to organize some rich people. Oh, bless you. Bless you.
Thank you, sir.
They need help.
And you see these people that are like buying their third boat. that are unhappy. And you're like, did the first two work? Like, and Trump's got the same disease, but it's like attention and acceptance. It's like, yeah, you've been president for 2 terms now. Like, this is not, if this is not enough of like, you know, support and encouragement in your life, it's never going to be enough. You might need a different strategy. It's probably your internal voice telling you, I'm being a terrible person. And the only way to change this internal voice is to change your behavior. It can't come from the outside. You see it in powerful people everywhere. There's a reason they are powerful. You know, oftentimes they are trying to fill something like that, and Trump is no different.
Well, and they are looking to fill a hole inside with something from outside, and that makes it sad. What makes it tragic is that they find enablers around them to indulge them in this lie and to contort the rest of our world to serve that tiny little desire, that childish need, that just somebody hug this guy.
Yeah.
You know, just somebody hug this man so that we can get about the business of self-government, right? We've got stuff to do.
You nailed it. The enablers piece is the most disheartening of it, because a lot of those enablers don't have the same sickness. You know, I had a rich guy tell me once that being wealthy is like being at high altitude. Like, but it's your feedback loops instead of oxygen. It's like your oxygen deprivation keeps getting worse and your thinking becomes worse. When you're wealthy and powerful, it's your feedback loops. There's not enough people being like, that's not actually funny. You shouldn't touch her like that. That's a dumb idea. And so you end up, but you do that for 20 years.
These guys should just be on the internet more. The internet will level with you, bro. Like, don't wear that. Don't say that. Don't do that. Don't buy that and pay your taxes, right? Like,
I have a slightly different thesis on that. I feel like the billionaires and like these guys become eventually like incels. There's like a reverse bell curve where it's like eventually you isolate yourself and you create weird feedback loops where you have like the exact same posture as like a 16-year-old Redditor with the same meme. And that's like Elon. Elon has fully gone on that journey and he's back to being like a 16-year-old meme poster.
What did the money buy you?
Yeah.
You know, if you just went back to high school at the end of the day, like literally at the end of your day, you're as insecure as like an acne prone teenager. I'm hiding acne right now with this hat, right? Like, I don't typically wear a hat, but I'm trying to preserve for the sake of vanity. If the whole point of this journey and all the people you took from and the earth's resources that you hoarded and the joy that you denied yourself was also you could feel as insecure at 46 as you did at 16. What was it for, bro?
Yes. 100%. Well, hey, I wanted to ask you about the candidates that Trump is upset about losing, specifically Spencer Pratt, the OC reality star. What's the mood like in LA? What's your take on that situation?
You know, I'm at a safe distance from Los Angeles. I'm coming to you from the land of the Agua Caliente band of Cahuilla Indians that you know is Palm Springs in the Coachella Valley.
Right.
So I'm 2 hours due east and a couple of mountains away from LA. The echoes and the ricochet, is significant. We had a big freak out that maybe there'd be 2 Republicans at the top of our gubernatorial ticket. That didn't happen. Not going to happen. And in LA is fascinating because what do I sense is going on there? What are my friends telling me is going on there? You got a lot of anger. You got a lot of hurt. You got a level of impatience with the status quo. And you got someone in the form of Karen Bass who's from the community, right? Like it's you don't get someone as grounded in like community organizing and Black brown relations. Like that's her whole jam is like Black and Latino people like in the hood building power. And she's found herself in this powerful position and she got a lot of people mad at her. She disappointed a lot of people to the point where one of the people on her own like team is running against her, Nithya Raman. And then a Laguna Beach reality star, like Gen 1.5 reality TV star, plus AI memes have like put this guy within striking distance and certainly within discourse distorting distance of determining who the next mayor is. Now, the latest counts, things are bouncing around. Maybe it'll be Bass versus Rahman, which would be a fascinating, like, progressive split to sort out. But if it's Pratt, we've seen this before. He is running the Trump playbook. He is amping up and basically sticking his finger in the wound of the people and reminding them how much pain they're in. And he's offering nothing of substance to alleviate that pain. And in that sense, he's got a great role model in Orange Man Bad.
If you're just joining us, you can go to orangemanbad.org if you want to do something about it. Also happens to just redirect to defiance.org. But if that's harder for you to remember, then orangemanbad.org. Just share that with your friends, write it on socials. Baratunde, I want to ask you though, because sorry, I had to step away for a second to blow my nose, cough, get a lozenge. By the way, those lozenges, for anyone who's a real OG defiance.org member, those lozenges in my bathroom are the same ones from like 6 months ago. I had a full coughing fit meltdown on the air. I completely fell apart. Like, I mean, it was like Mr. Potato Head thrown into a wall at 60 miles an hour. I just completely fell apart. And so thank goodness I still had those lozenges from last time. It's going to get me through the end of the show. But
coming back like a phoenix from the ashes, though, Miles. We're happy to
but I got to ask you, Baratunde, about what we are seeing there right now, because Donald Trump does not want to let the opportunity go to waste. And by the opportunity, I literally just mean like a normal vote counting process. Taking a while. He just wants to go practice his I smell fraud fake claims. And so he sent a U.S. attorney out to California who's been posting on social media things like this. You heard of any fraud, seen any fraud? Like this already sounds like the guy you see on TV that's like, were you ever in a building that had asbestos in it? You could be entitled to $30 billion per household. Email in anything. Did you step foot in there? Did you look at a school that had asbestos? We could make you rich for life. Anyway, you're putting out those sorts of feelers to people to send in their fake horseshit, made up, wacky ass conspiracies, even though it says don't send in your conspiracies. Yeah, good luck with that. This thing's just going to be a magnet for false claims in the election. But my question for you, Baratunde, is it seems like he's using California as batting practice for stealing the midterms. I want to get your sense on the ground there, but also what should we take from it? What should we take from the fact that right now the president is already spinning up claims of fraud in an election where, to my knowledge, there hasn't been a single indicator of fraud?
I mean, he didn't start that line with California. I just need 11,000 votes, out of Georgia, right? The attacks on election workers, particularly anywhere where there's like a black person, like near an election, this guy is just like, he can just smell blackness. He's like a weird racist, like police dog. And he's like, there's black people, must be a crime, and that's his whole MO. He in some ways, he struck LA first when it came to militarization and sending in the Guard and the Marines. And I was in downtown LA the days those deployments happened, and the whole country was kind of freaked out. But he attacked Washington, D.C., which is where I grew up. He attacked Minneapolis, St. Paul, where I got basically everywhere I've been in the past year. This dude is like right behind me with like Greg Bongino or something like that, or Bovino.
We're going to need you, Baratunde, to move to Fiji. Let's draw.
I think maybe we've discovered
attention to election fraud in Fiji. Yeah, we'll get them real amped up about that.
So all that wind up to say, I do not see this as like the prototype or the test of how he's going to try to distort the midterms. He's been trying to distort elections since he first participated in one himself. And by his own admission, since he was the rich guy trying to affect their outcomes by merely buying them, right? Like the acceptable corruption that we've had as a nation for some time, especially since Citizens United, he was a proud and loud participant in that form of electoral fraud. But then when he's on the ballot, anything that doesn't go his way is fraud. You know, your people know this. Everybody watching this knows this. I guess my answer to your question is I think California is big. We don't like him. We know him. Gavin Newsom is a nuisance to him, and has used the perch of the governorship of California to troll him. And LA in particular doesn't suffer him. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a level of pride, there's a level of community, the post fires, the mutual aid stuff, post COVID. Like, I don't know. I always feel like he's messing with the wrong one when he picks on Los Angeles and even California. 6th largest economy, you know, be a shame if we separated from the rest of you. You know,
LA has a history of showing up too in hard times.
It does.
You might want to do some research on LA and how they show up. You said something really important I want to go back to. You said Spencer Pratt's success is partially because he is identifying with the pain of the city. And I'm raising a toddler right now, and raising a toddler teaches you a lot about how to talk to people in general. And the first thing you need to do is validate. And I think sometimes the Democrats skip that step or try to hand wave a bit. And I think some of your success, honestly, is like almost like our version of Spencer Pratt, where you validate, but then you provide solutions. You know what I mean? Like you're doing both. You're like, I should say you're bridging that. You do a lot of validation.
Well, thanks for seeing
a lot of problem validation, but then I think you model a little bit of what we could sound like if we go validate, then provide solutions. And I think that's oftentimes what's been missing, because I think Democrats are, for the most part, are institutionalists and have been part of that system. So it's hard for them to validate entirely. And Karen Bass is probably in a good position to do it, but we don't want to hear anymore why we can't solve homelessness, mental health, addiction in year 20 of this being, you know, a big issue, and it's such a dangerous issue. But can you respond to that?
Yeah, thank you for setting it up that way. Nobody wants to be gaslit.
Yeah.
And it's such an interesting, like, officially liberal value to validate people's experiences. And yet the political party, which claims to inherit those values most, constantly denies the validity of their own constituency's experience. See Joe Biden saying the economy's fine. See my man Anthony Fauci. I mean, I ride or die for Fauci, but some of his early dismissal, even if you ask a question about a vaccine because you got some questionable medical history with government deliver healthcare in this country for all kind of reasons, like you're not allowed to. You're just not allowed to. And I've been on that train too, of just like, but we're right, so get on board. And it feels bad. The key unlock is people don't like to be made to feel bad, so don't make them feel bad. People don't like to be told they're idiots, so don't tell them they're idiots. And people don't like to be told that they're not experiencing what they're actually experiencing, so don't do that. And the Democratic Party has just run roughshod in too many cases over its own people, whether it's the public option for healthcare, whether it's Bernie as a candidate, whether it is meaningful reins on Wall Street after the financial collapse of 2008. You could pick a whole list of where this party has chosen the money, has chosen, the shortcut, has chosen to really ignore the people. And so it loses some legitimacy when it then wants to say, we got to defend democracy. And then also you're not going to acknowledge that this democracy you're claiming to defend has also failed to deliver. So it's yes. And what kind of democracy? For whom? What's the experience we're trying to have here? But we got to start. And this is that horseshoe politics that a lot of people talk about, where like the left and the right come together. You got Bannon and Bernie agreeing on AI. It's not because they're both crazy. It's because they're both so in it with their people that they recognize some underlying truth that unites all the people. And so everybody else needs to catch up and be like, maybe data centers is a real thing. We should not just do what Sam Altman says because people like water. But it's hard. And it's hard. And I think my attempt at empathy for it is we talked about high altitude rich people before. We all get used to what we get used to. And you got people around you, enablers around leaders in the Democratic Party who tell you it's okay, or they're taking money, or they've taken too much to speak truth, whether that truth is to a union or to industry. And we're just in an age where none of that's going to fly anymore. None of that's going to fly. And so if you're not telling it like it is, miss me, move on to the next one. And people will choose a fake ass Batman wannabe Spencer Pratt to make a statement. You're telling me everything in LA is great? Come on, let's acknowledge it's not. Let's work together to fix it. But you can't get past, if you cannot get past that acknowledgement, you'll have a much harder time actually serving the people. You have a great time serving yourself, but you have a hard time serving the people. And then that's the question of what your mission really is.
Well, final question for you, my friend. I want to hone in on something you just mentioned, which is data centers. May not be the most obvious thing to talk about here, but I think that data centers are quickly becoming the flashpoint issue that shows the horseshoe that you were describing, right? It shows how folks on the populist MAGA right who are jaded with Donald Trump and folks on the left who are jaded with the system are coming together to say, yeah, look at this one issue. Look at the absolute support from the government for rich AI companies that are now coming into our communities and hoovering up all of our resources and then charging us exorbitant sums to have access to the things that they're producing. And by the way, I'm told I can't survive in the future without the thing that they're producing. It is bringing working class people together across the country. I feel like that one issue, data centers, shows where shit is going. And I don't want to claim to be Nostradamus here because I'm not. This was foreseeable. But my wife could tell you that since we met each other almost 10 years ago at the Department of Homeland Security, I've been saying robots, data centers, this stuff, that's the future of culture wars in this country is going to be the have automations and the have not of automation. And that seems to be what's happening. I wonder, what can we learn from these early debates we've seen around data centers? How can we head off some of the scarier pitchfork outcomes here by looking at how that whole thing's unfolding?
Woo! You have such beautiful lines of it's not really a question, lines of exploration and inquiry. I want to do
so beautiful. Let's end the program right there. Thank you, everyone. I thought that was a great question answer that I gave. We'll see you next time.
I want to see Mercedes just threw this in the chat, and I want to plug this while people are still tuning in. So I was hinting at a better version of democracy that's possible for us. It's existed here before, literally before our founding 250 awkward as years ago. There's democracy in this nation, stewarded by indigenous people, invited our founders to practice it. They were like, we'll take a little bit. We'll take the eagle, but we like property rights and white supremacy.
We'll take the eagle.
So they took some symbols. They took some structures of legislative bodies, honestly. But there's an interdependence themed democracy. And I'm doing an event tomorrow to celebrate the release of a new book, American Indigenous Democracy, A Call for Interdependence. I'm co-hosting with Valerie Kaur from the Revolutionary Love Project. And we have two incredible guests. Oh, you got the graphic. Thank you so much. So we are going to be speaking with Jose Barrero and Gudgy Cook, who've devoted a lot of their lives to putting these principles of governance into practice. And for those of us who are searching for something deeper, some more rooted, literally more rooted principles of how we organize ourselves and govern ourselves, the great news is it's been here the whole time. And it's actually part of our history that most of us aren't taught. And it's a good news story from our history, which is usually not the case. Usually history is like another massacre and somebody whose name we have to take off a building. This ain't that. This is we're all a part of something much more robust, much more real. Women at the center of government. That's just mind-blowing already. So I'll save the rest for the event tomorrow. It's free. It's 8 p.m. Tuesday, June 8th. It's on Zoom. Links in the chat. It's on your screen. I'll post about it after on Substack and everywhere people might be watching. And it brings me, Miles, to your beautiful question about the data centers. I do a show called Life with Machines, also here in the Substack universe, and we care about our future. We want a good one with tech, not under it, not surviving it. But I think there's this myth that a lot of folks in tech have that if it's digital, it's just like ephemeral and not real. You know, it's just like bits and bytes and gigabit. You know, it's just like whatever. It's in the cloud. But every digital item, every digital concept eventually lands in the physical world. It lands on someone's body. It lands in someone's river. It lands in someone's watershed. It lands in someone's forest. It lands in a building on a hard drive that was put together maybe by a kid, you know, run by a language model that was filtered maybe by a different kid, right? There are physical costs that a lot of us ignore. And I say us intentionally. I'm not trying to like talk down to anyone. But the data center thing is bringing home for so many people the cost of an extractive, colonial, dominant-driven mode of economics and politics. And because we've been through social media, which felt ephemeral until kids started showing up with deep anxiety, with a loneliness epidemic, which came from who knows where, and even in some extreme cases with, you know, unaliving themselves, like that lands in a body. But this is even physically bigger. Like I live in the Coachella Valley, city down the block. They approved, I'll close on this. The town folk, the leaders approved a 240-acre data center. 240 acres. And they did it with the quickness and they didn't invite the public and they got the asses handed to them and they should have. And I spent last Thursday night watching 3 hours of the people showing up, testifying to what this meant to them and telling each of them politicians, we will recall each of your asses if you try to pull something like this again, if you do not get a permanent ban. We raise dates out here. We throw music festivals. We like our natural resources and we like human beings and life. And we're not going to have some droning, resource hogging data center that's going to enrich people not here, sitting in our backyard next to our kids' school. And it's undeniable when you have people physically show up that way. So yeah, it's a Rorschach test. And I like tech and I like AI, but I also like life and I like people and I like people deciding what they want.
Yeah.
The point isn't we never have a data center. The point is, where does it go? What's powering it? How sustainable are the jobs? What's the environmental impact of it? And let's have a community conversation about that, not a handful of politicians who may have gotten some money to encourage a speedy vote on it.
I gotta say, a lot of Baratunde for president type of comments in the chat. A lot of those vibes out there. Hit that heart button or that like button if you want to send this guy to the White House just to knock on the door and say, sir, maybe you should just switch with me. And then Trump can do what he always wanted to do, Baratunde. He can go sit at your microphone and we can just tell him 24-hour stream, 365 days of the year. All he wants to be is a fucking podcaster. That's all he wants. He just wants,
he's trying to back into that.
There's a parallel universe where some of these men actually live out their dreams, where George W. Bush is an incredible painter and Donald J. Trump is just a podcaster.
I like the Bush paintings. Trump he wants these. He just needs to, this is all they have to do. Does the White House staff not get this? I should have proposed this in the first term. He just needs these headphones. He just needs the feedback of his audio and like a millisecond delay from the voice coming out to back in, and he'll just talk. We'll just wear him out on the loop, guys. That's the solution. Put some damn headphones on the guy's head. Let him hear himself talk. Get him a Shure mic. Just set him up. Anyway, we're gonna make him into a podcaster. We're gonna make you into president. So grateful for you being with us, my friend. We could do the data center thing for like 5 hours. I was just sitting here thinking,
we should come back to it.
I got to offline with you on that front. And we should do an episode just on, I actually really do think this is the data centers are the data point of where American politics are headed, like much, much bigger than people realize, but we'll save that for another day. Baratunde Thurston, you're the man. Thank you for joining us today.
You are the men. We are the people. Let's go. Thank you.
Later, brother.
Love it. Always great to have him. Always great to have him. It's hard to even go into who is joining the Defiance after having Baratune Day, because I start thinking about stuff and writing stuff down as I'm like hacking and coughing and blowing my nose and sneaking off screen.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, my brain was turning on the AI data center stuff too. It is the new America usually slingshots talking about cultural issues between Black and brown people being the bad guys and the immigrants being the bad guys in the competition for white jobs, essentially. Robots haven't made their ascension quite yet into being the third angry leg of that pillar. But I think they're getting there, and they're more than freaking justified in their space in that lineup. I think the tech industry operates as if it's still 2000 and the general public just believes tech is an inevitable good. Like there was a while where the tech industry just got it passed because they're making everything free and easier and displacing corrupt incumbents, et cetera, et cetera. We're so far gone. Baratune brought up the social media thing. We're so far gone from that reality. The general public does not believe tech is going to make our lives better. It's not the Jetsons. We believe that they make us angrier. They displace us from our jobs. The mood has totally shifted, and you can see that DC has not caught up at all.
The mood has shifted. If Hannah, my wife, had her way, once Trump is gone, and he will be gone, folks, that's your moment of zen today. Donald Trump will be gone. You'll get to see it. When he's gone, Hannah would love for Defiance to become us defying the robots. So just keep that in mind. I think that's the shift. It's going to be kind of hard to do a podcast if the robots own the network. But anyway, that's where she wants the Defiance to go when this is over. And our producer writes in the chat, I am so ready for it.
I've actually been training carrier pigeons just for that day ever since that was first mentioned. So I'm up to 100 now. We've got to get a few more.
That's right. Well, I will take us for now into who is joining the Defiance against Donald Trump. And that is one Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who we're going to now start calling Dwayne "Throw a Rock at Trump" Johnson, even though it doesn't roll off the tongue quite the same way, because
I don't know if we're going to do that.
Xander, it's going to be hard to remember.
It might be a you thing.
So The Rock, as he's called, was asked to perform at this stupid UFC fight at the White House. I know we disagree with that. Look, I think the idea of the White House sponsoring something with UFC is interesting for blue collar workers. I think the way that he's done it on the White House grounds is madness. We'll put that aside. Okay. But I loved that they wanted The Rock to come, and The Rock, well, I'll just let you listen to what he had to say. This is what he said when he was asked about that declined invitation to perform at the White House.
Promises Dana White makes. I will not be participating in the White House UFC Freedom 250 event. Dana and I have been close friends for years, but after learning about the controversy surrounding the concert, I realized this event is not as simple as it seems. If this were truly about celebrating America's 250th anniversary, I wouldn't hesitate to step into the cage, even for an exhibition match. But this isn't a celebration. It's one person using the nation's birthday to build a political stage for himself. $60 million to turn the White House lawn into a private arena. 1,000 invitations sent out. And what happened? Sandler said no. Leto said no. Even Lopez, who proudly calls himself a conservative, said no. The White House is not a private showroom, and the Octagon should never become a tool for political theater. If an event leaves the public feeling divided and uncomfortable, then it has already lost the true meaning of freedom. I'm more than willing to celebrate my country, but don't expect me to let my name be used to polish the image of any political circus. That's where I draw the line.
I mean, whoa. Bomb dropped, Xander.
He was being careful too. You know, it wasn't like he was. This sounded like the earlier interview with the 60 Minutes guy. He was being kind and respectful. Lately, all you have to do is just lay out the facts, and you're dissing the president. You don't have to add any emotion to it. You can just clearly state what's going on and what it is. It was. I got a bit sad for a moment when he talked about an event leaving us divided. You forget there was even a political reality not so long ago where the goal of an event would be to not do that. You would think long and hard about how to bring us together, around events like the 250th anniversary of the country. And we're so far from that reality.
I got to say, there's been a lot of speculation over the years, some of which Dwayne throw a rock at Trump Johnson has spun up himself about him potentially running for public office. I heard that and thought, all right, interesting. He's planting a flag, on the other side of the river from Donald Trump. I don't know.
It is a milestone. Yeah, it is a milestone for sure. When you're starting to see these like A-listers who are certainly advised to like stay attractive to as much of your audience as possible, to stay in demand to as much of your audience as possible. Those folks are starting to take a stand, which you usually see as like laggards in these types of fights.
Absolutely. Well, Dwayne, welcome to Defiance. It's great to have you here. I think there's going to be more to come on that front. He was one of those one of those celebrities that acts like a politician who was kind of quiet on Trump stuff after Trump got reelected, Xander. But now I feel like he's stepping out there a little bit more.
We're getting him back. We should not forget. This is like my nightmares that we forget why this is happening. This is not happening because these people are brave. This is happening because you, regular people, have shown it is safe to step out and it is popular to step out against the president. So, I would hate for an era where we return to looking to celebrities and movie stars and, athletes and whatnot for guidance, business leaders, etc. Remember, this country is owned and operated by the people, and those at the top have shown to be the least willing or the most late to the party. I want to give The Rock his props, but I just want to make sure like we remember that. We remember 2025 and we operate as if that is the truth, and we claim our power as individuals and as regular citizens of this country, and don't try to look to the next hero to delegate that power to. We need to stay in this fight moving forward.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, listen, folks, we are in overtime here at Defiance Daily today, and out of respect for my flailing vocal cords, absolutely just hanging on for dear life, we're not going to be able to take Defiance.org member questions today, but I promise if I'm in better form tomorrow, we will take more questions. So much coming down the pike this week. Do not forget to tune in with us Wednesday for the weekly mission brief. Be with us every day, but Wednesday we've got a great announcement of a group that we are standing behind to help protect our elections this year. In fact, Xander and I were talking about the balance of the month earlier. This is going to be a big election protection month for us here at Defiance.org. Why? Because our members told us to. If you're a Defiance.org member, go look at the poll we sent out last week. In the response to our monthly member meeting, overwhelmingly, you all said you're worried about the security of the midterms. Well, we've listened, and we've got some important announcements and partnerships coming up this month, including this Wednesday. So tune in. In the meantime, we'll be back tomorrow. I will sound like a man who has swallowed rocks. Xander will be in fine form. And we have with us on tomorrow's program a special guest that some of you have requested to see on this program, Rich Logis, who launched an organization called Leaving MAGA. He's an ex-Fox News employee who now runs an organization to help people defect from the cult of Donald Trump. He will be here on Defiance Daily tomorrow in the 5 p.m. Eastern hour. So join us. In the meantime, as we always say, friends, stay loud, stay brave, and stay together. We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.